Let's do a practice. Let's start with a practice that will help us ground deeper into the present moment. How about that? Like a small little breathwork practice to help us be present with our bodies, to help us be, more alive in our bodies in this moment, and also absorb this, what we are speaking, receive this better. So I would say we would start with that. So simply close your eyes and observe the presence of your body. Observe your breath. Observe your heart beating. And see how these processes happen without no effort. They happen by default. Observe the intelligence behind your body, who put all of these processes together, all the trillions of cells in your body, rooting for you today so that you can have a physical human experience. All of them are relentlessly working to keep you healthy, to keep you thriving, promoting well-being, even if you don't feel like it, even when you resist it. They are still relentlessly working to keep you healthy, to keep you fresh, regenerated every single day when you wake up. See how that higher intelligence is good for you. It wants you here. That's the force of the Creator inside you and inside me and inside everything in this reality. So let's take a deep breath, acknowledging this and holding it at the top. Deep breath in. And let go of any stories, any judgments. Let's do 2 more. Deep breath in and hold at the top. Feel this life force energy in your body. Letting go of what doesn't serve, any narratives and stories. And let's take another deep breath in, holding it at the top, and when we exhale this time, we're gonna do a sound that feels good for us in this very moment. Noticing your presence, being grateful for being alive, for being here. For choosing yourself. even when for some people it's hard, for other people it's easier. To choose yourself, to choose your growth, to choose your well-being is something that is probably the most important thing we can do in this life. So I honor you for that, for being here. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And I would say we are ready to dive into this topic, which is about you are who you've been looking for, and I'm excited to share everything I want to share about this today, my intention for this is to inspire you to believe in yourself, to show up for yourself, to show up for what you have been put on this earth for your destiny, for your mission, for your excitement. Awesome. I would say let's go deeper into today's topic. So you are who you've been looking for. I know for some people it's hard to believe. I know many of us, including myself at times, still look externally, still look for validation, still look for some form of gratification, some form of approval that we are who we have been looking for, that our lives matter, that we have been chosen to be who we are, and therefore we have to live with that. So the first thing I want to ask you is, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Behind that vessel, behind this body that you have, behind the stories, behind the image, behind what happened to you, behind all of these narratives that run behind the mind or in the mind, who is behind all of that, watching reality, observing reality, observing this phone or this laptop that you're holding in your hand right now or on your table? Who is that? Who is that? What is that energy that watches through these eyes that you have and feels through the heart that you have and interprets messages through the mind that you have? Who is that energy? And can I speak with that energy here? Can I connect with that version of you who's behind your vessel? This is what I want to do today. That's what I've been looking for within myself, to be connected with that energy as much as I can, because that is the energy, the force that have created this body, the force that has created everything in reality. All the stars, all the galaxies, all the planets is the same force, the force of the Creator, the light of the Creator that flows through us, that watches and experiences the creation through this human vessel right here, right now, and for many more years to come, and has an experience of reality. This force that exists behind our vessel, behind what you're seeing right now, and behind what behind your own body, that force is so powerful, it's so intelligent, and it has infinite potential. And guess what our greatest fear actually is? Our greatest fear is not that we die. It is to really be seen as such, is to really embody the greatness of what that means, to live from that energy, to live from that power, because there is no doubt from there. There is no scarcity, there is no survival mode when we operate from that place. There is no lack and disconnection. Of course, temporarily, we're always going to feel these things, because this is the journey of the human body. The body and our vessel is literally the bridge between dimensions, between the physical dimensions and non-physical dimensions. But who, like that force of the creation, that creator force inside of you, that doesn't live in a physical dimension. It molds the physical dimension. It creates the physical dimension. And that is what we are. That is what I am, and I deeply believe you are as well. If I'm wrong, if you don't agree, that's okay. You can be whoever you want. I am not here to tell you what to be, how to, what clothes to wear, what religion you should believe in, and all of these things. This is not what this is all about. This is about realizing at the core essence who you are as a frequency, and from there you can invest that into anything you want in your life. This is about realizing that that energy is what you have been actually looking for to connect with. Because everything that we do from that energy, we do it with intention, with conscious, and for the greatest well-being of ourselves and others. We call that energy God, we call it the universe, higher self, and so forth. And it's not away from you, it's not external of you. But we will go to that a little bit later. My question now to you and to myself, because this is a continuous question that I ask myself also every single day, is what is your relationship with this creator inside of you? And of course also external, right? With your people, with life, with Mother Nature, with animals. But first let's speak about with ourselves, because that's who we are supposed to live for our entire life with. We cannot escape ourselves for as long as we are alive. So we have to be with ourselves, right? We have to become our best friend. You cannot be at war with yourself and call that self-love, or go into the world and try to change the world, because you're going to create chaos, right? We cannot have a successful life while we're constantly sabotaging, because we are in a battle with ourselves, we are in a discomfort, in a disconnect, and we are playing games in our own minds, and separation games, and judgments, and doubts, and sabotage, and so on and so forth. Not enoughness, all of these stories that we have been trained to believe for generations by our society, by our family, parents, cultures, educational systems, so on and so forth. However, we cannot continuously blaming those for our disconnect, for our lack. We simply have to remember something very powerful, which is that we are always whole. We always have been whole, and we are always whole. Even when we feel disconnected, we are whole. Even when we have an illness or a disease, we are whole, because that energy, the creator power, the creator inside you, doesn't experience lack, doesn't understand lack. It only wants to create different outcomes, different possibilities. This is the energy of the creator. It creates, it transforms energy and consciousness, sometimes into physical form, right? When we create something in the world, when we write a book, when we share ourselves, when we make music, when we give someone a smile, as simple as that. Giving someone a smile, it can make their day, So we always have choice. And so the question always comes back to what is our relationship with the creator inside of us, because based on that relationship is how we show up in the world, is how we are perceived, is how we receive energy from people, right? If we are self-hating ourselves, and if we are in a battle in ourselves, we're going to attract that battle in the world. We're going to attract that battle externally in someone else, in the way your partner treats you, in the way your boss treats you, in the way your friends treat you today. I'm sure you have been experienced this many times, and you're asking yourself, I wonder why these people treat me that way. I wonder why I keep attracting this partner that reflects my pain. It's because maybe you haven't been sitting deeply with that pain first, and you making peace with it and loving yourself and tending to your wounds with love and care and appreciation. Because this is what our instinct is, to project on the external world, right? Because of my mom I'm this way, because of my dad I have this trauma, I have this behavior, because my children are this and that, I cannot have peace and rest and this, and we always find an external source. Because of the government, because of Trump is crazy, I cannot have good sleep at night. Right? We always find some reason, and the truth is that those are external. When we do that, we are literally sourcing our power away. We're giving our power away. We are saying, I do not have power over myself now, let me give it to this person, to this family member, to this concept, to this government institution. They have power over me. I am not my own authority. And that's not what you came here for. And you are what you've been looking for, to establish a new authority, to establish to create a different life, a different outcome in your journey. So I would say that based on what I shared so far, there's enough context to give you an understanding of, or a remembrance, because I'm sure you even know these things, right? Everyone speaks. I feel like the greatest teachers always lead you back to yourself, right? This is how I base my teachings on. I lead people back to themselves so that they can experience that within. Because if we are constantly externalizing, if you're putting it on astrology, jinkies, human design, numerology, signs and synchronicities, we are thinking externally. And although those things can help us, from time to time, when we are not really seeing what is the gem here, what is the diamond, which is your inner knowing. You have to be so solid in your inner knowing that the Creator lives inside you, that you are whole at all times, and that life is always good for you. Life is supposed to be good. Life is our ally, not our enemy. We have been in survival mode. We believe that life is against us. We believe that there's lack and scarcity and fear. We operate from a different system. But we have to understand that life is for us. The creator that lives inside you created his entire cosmos, his entire universe and reality out of pure pleasure and exploration of itself. So that energy comes from a good intention to have fun with itself, right? So you can have fun with yourself too. You can enjoy your life too, right? This was a hard lesson for me. So when I say everything I'm telling you, actually I'm telling myself as well. It's a remembrance that at some point I had to face, I had to sit with, and I'm constantly doing so. I'm far from being perfect here. However, I do feel like I reached a point in my life where some things have solidified, and that is the relationship I have with that creator. And since that changed, since that is solid, since I deeply know, like 80-90% of the time, that I am fully responsible for my reality. And I also know that I'm whole, that I'm not lacking anything, even when people reject me, because we are going to experience rejection everywhere, at every corner in this life. People can say no to you, and that is perfectly fine. In fact, people should say more no to each other, because we often people please, right? People have boundaries. You cannot feel attacked because of someone else's boundary. You cannot allow yourself to change your internal state based on how someone reacts to you or responds to you all the time. Yes, sometimes it can affect us. Depends on our connection with that person, how deep it is. But even then, our quest should be always to find that inner connection, that inner wholeness. So then we stop the projection, the external projection. And this is what I want to point here, is that external validation, even if it matches what you need, right? Even if it's like aligning fully with your expectation. Let's say that you receive everything externally that you have imagined, including money, including finances, love, joy. Everything works, and you live from that external validation. The moment you lose something, a part of it, let's say you have 100% full success in living from external validation. Everyone loves you, everything works, your money is flowing, your purpose is growing, your relationships in your life are so like great and working on all levels. I actually experience many seasons like that in life. And what I learned is that the moment I've been shifting my self-worth based on that, based on how much reality responds to me, based on how reality responds to me, is the moment when I start feeling disconnected, bits and pieces in each area that I just mentioned. Because I've been projecting my source of happiness, my source of wholeness externally. Someone else can make me feel whole. That person gave me a compliment. Oh, I feel so good about myself. My lover gave me a kiss and told me how much she loves me. Wow, I feel so good about myself. I check my bank account. Wow, $5,000 came in. I feel so good about myself. If you can enjoy those things, but always come back to knowing that those things are not who you are not what you are, and can never make you whole, because you are already whole. And that's why you even experience those, because you've realized your wholeness. But then when you lose them, if you suffer, if you are in pain right now because some relationship in your life is not in alignment with how you want, or because you don't know in which direction to go in your purpose, in your job, in your career, or because your health is deteriorating in whatever way, or it feels like you're experiencing a challenging in that area. If you are giving that power to that, you're not able to shift it, because that power has to come internally from the creator inside you, from the connection with that creator, from the wholeness that you already are. Not to fix on the external and to stay in a victim mode because someone doesn't agree with you, or someone doesn't, accept or love you, or reject you, or judge you, even harshly, or even abuse you. Each time I experience abuse in different ways. Well, maybe physical in some battles when I was young, but we can experience emotional, psychological through people. And so each time I'm doing that, each time I'm observing that, I'm coming back to my center, and I know that that cannot take away my power. Someone's perception of me, it might come from their own pain, and we have to be strong enough internally to stand in our wholeness and face that, and not let ourselves be drained by it, not become a victim of it. And it's not easy. It takes practice. It definitely takes practice. But what are we here to do than just practice? This is the next point I want to touch upon. These are great times of change. Okay, these are great times of change where we can only practice and train ourselves. Finally, we are awakening, right? We are aware that there is more to who we are. There is more to life than what we have been taught to live. We've been living in this amnesia for thousands of years of battle against each other, battle in ourselves, then battle against each other for war, for resources, battle of the sexes, feminine, masculine, survival mode, all of these things, while we are at the same time living on an abundant planet that can provide not just for 8 billion but for 20, 50 billion people if we are making it right. Because there are resources, there are ways to generate energy nowadays that are so much more sustainable, and we are still using the old survival ways in so many ways. But it's going to change. These are the times we are living in. It changes externally, it changes internally, but it changes externally sustainably when it changes internally first. And in these times we are looking for saviors externally. No, you are who you've been looking for. And you probably know that. You probably heard this many times. I'm just a reminder here. You are who you've been looking for. And the way you change, the way you create that great change in yourself and others, is by taking fully responsibility for how you feel, what runs you, what's the narrative inside. And ultimately, and most importantly, when we reach this point in our life, is by how we express. What is your expression externally? How do you impact the world? What is the intention behind everything you're doing? How does that affect reality externally? If we want to change the world, this is how we do it, through our own expression, through our own gifts. Not by fixing something without understanding the cause. That doesn't work. It's like treating a symptom. It's like taking pharmaceutical medicine for something that is deeply emotional. It's probably gonna numb it, or even other things like addictions, drugs, even plant medicine. People take also those type of things sometimes to heal, but it becomes an addiction, it becomes an externalization. Everything can be externalized, including astrology, including how are the stars moving today. Yes, guide yourself by that if you want, but know that you're solid with your own inner core of who you are. And yes, the best way to live our lives in this world is by expressing truly who we are. Forget about trying to be a great man, like ideal masculine archetype or ideal feminine archetype, and be a good man or good woman. Forget about all of that. Be real. Be truly real and authentic, first and foremost with yourself. Because if we cannot do that and we're just trying to force our projection of who we are externally, when you put that mask on and you come into your own space, then you're going to feel sad. You're going to feel sad because you have performed. You haven't lived, you have performed. It was a performance. And how many of us perform still? How many of us have been trained to perform out there in society? We don't want to perform, we want to express genuinely, authentically, and these are the times of change where that is possible. These are the times that we have been looking for. And you are the person you've been looking for in these times. So welcome back to yourself. Welcome yourself back to yourself. And know that you are whole, no matter what you're going through right now, no matter how deep your darkness, no matter how clear your light, how pure your light is. You are whole at all times. Because the Creator inside of you is whole at all times. It's just the filters we put on our experience that changes our state. But if we always come back to that energy inside, then the filters change as well. And that's our power. And that's the magnificent power. That's like alchemy, pure alchemy. And you can do that every single moment in which you remember, I'm connected with the Creator force in reality. I am that force. For those who are courageous enough to look within themselves in this process and see where they are, see what needs to be changed, see what needs to be shifted in order to be more connected with themselves, to feel whole, to feel expressed into the world. Thank you for doing that, for showing up for yourself. I honor you, I see you. And for those who want to dive deeper and want to have support and be empowered weekly through group coaching calls and through an empowering community of masterful creators who are here to simply live their greatest potential, to bring their creations into the world, to embody that energy from within on a daily basis, to be accountable with it, and to share their expression, share their creations in the world, then I invite you in my community. I have a monthly membership community, and it's so powerful. We have weeks every Saturday. We have calls every week on Saturday, and we dive deep, and it's nurturing, nourishing, empowering, supporting. And it's not just I have a bird that is excited right now. Can you hear it? Wow, Costa Rica is so incredible how all of a sudden you just hear some wild sound that you never heard in your entire life. Yeah, so in this community we are really supporting each other to be prosperous doing what we love. It's not just a hobby. It is an actual how can you live your greatest life every single day and receiving support and asking questions and sharing your gifts and sharing what blocks you, your challenges, your celebrations, and so on. Alright, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Remember that you are the one you have been looking for, and simply honor that. Honor yourself. Establish a better relationship with yourself. I think that's the best thing we can do every single day of our lives. Alright, ciao for now. Much love.